Hi, I'm Lisa Leiter. In Chicago Business Today, pilot pay. The Justice Department has cleared the United Continental deal, but to really take off, the merged airline needs to complete a new contract with its pilots. Talks started on August 9th, and a UAL spokeswoman tells Crain's that the airline hopes for a pact by the time the merger closes next month. At issue, Continental's pilots union is against any plans to outsource more flights to regional airlines. They have the tightest limits in the industry and consider the regional carriers a threat to their jobs. The use of regional carriers has been growing for 2 decades, but has skyrocketed in the past 2 years. In 2008, regional jets accounted for about 12% of domestic flight capacity. By the first quarter of this year, it's at 19%.
Definitely took off during the last decade, given how cheap oil prices were and given Southwest's explosion in growth. So the regional carriers are outsourcing at cheap fuel. It made sense. If you flash back to 2008 when oil was at 150, 50-seaters aren't profitable. Today they're not profitable either. So airlines have trended away from 50-seaters on to 70-seat and above, even to 90-seat. Delta has recently sold some of their regional carriers. AMR is exploring the concept of spinning off their American Eagle. At the end of the day, 50-seaters aren't very viable in today's fuel economy, so there has to be a compromise.
Right now, Continental can't subcontract flying of jets with more than 50 seats. For United, it's 70 seats. The merged airline wants to adopt United's standard. The chief of Continental's pilots union argues that the costs of fuel and aircraft are higher than labor and that the cost differences between the big carriers and regional players is shrinking, but he would not provide data to Crain's. Continental pilots make about 10 to 20% more on average than United's, so United's pilots can expect a raise with the merger plus whatever boost in pay a new contract provides. And because labor can make or break a merger, the union will likely press for a pay raise. That's why cost savings are expected to generate just about a quarter of the $1.1 billion in projected financial benefits from the merger.
The big concern becomes, the loss of jobs. And are there going to be job losses as a result of this merger? They talked about a minimum, I think it was $250 million of the synergies will actually be cost cutting. My guess it's going to be more. There's a chance they'll have to reduce redundant routes and things of that nature, which ultimately at the end of the day, it's fewer flying hours and fewer pilots or labor per flight. So do you either give up some of your salary and try to protect the number of jobs, or are you one of those people that doesn't lose their job and as a result there's more salaries to pay for a fewer number of pilots?
Airlines traditionally pay lower wages to pilots of smaller planes, and the question is whether the current pilots at United and Continental will accept low enough wages to make it viable for the airlines to bring the flying back in-house. Well, that's this edition of Chicago Business Today. For more on this story, be sure to check out this week's print edition of Crain's or chicagobusiness.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.